it's always nice to be nice to the nice, they say, but apparently a whopping 96% of employees polled in a recent workplace study found that they're experiencing rudeness at work. So joining us now is Anjali Handa from CivilityExperts.com to talk about something many of us are apparently encountering, but perhaps don't think about. Welcome, Anjali.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So why are people being rude to each other?
You know what? That's a great question. There's so many different things going on in people's lives today, and especially in the workforce. We're seeing so much change. So there's things like downsizing and economic turmoil, and, you know, it's all having an impact on people in their workplaces. Mm-hmm. So we come to a point of desperation at times, and when things aren't always working in different areas of our life, sometimes all there is to do is take it out on those people around you and your environments around you, and that's what we're seeing a lot of these days.
So what is the answer?
So the answer that we're really starting to see is embedding civility into workplaces.
And tell us about CivilityExperts.com and what you do and why it's important. And it's important in the ways that businesses care, which is the bottom line.
Yeah. So Civility Experts is a business that's really out there to cause a shift in the way corporate cultures are operating. So bringing civility practices in the way that we run our business, the way that people treat each other, that's what we're standing for. So we do consultations, we do assessments, we do training programs. And what we're starting to see today is that when organizations really do take on civility in the workplace, the way that they're operating actually is starting to produce about 30% more of a benefit. So you're seeing 30% more productivity, morale increase, engagement, and all of those things have an impact on the bottom line.
So is there a difference between civility and manners?
Oh, well, manners is absolutely an element of civility, but it's not the whole picture. So when we talk about manners, we are looking at things like etiquette and guidelines and rules to follow, which is important. However, it's not the whole picture. So when we look at civility, it's really looking at a person's character and the ethics that they operate from. So oftentimes you can have manners, but also not be a civil human being or operate from incivility, as we say. Like, you'll show up on time, you'll dress appropriately, you'll say the right things. However, if you're just going through the motions of what's socially acceptable without having that character that really cares about and contributes to other people, it's not really bringing civility into your behavior and who you are.
So you can teach people the civility that they need in the workplace. And there are 4 elements to that.
Yes.
So why don't you explain to people?
Yeah, civility is grounded on 4 key elements. One of them is social intelligence. Social intelligence really has you look at how can you operate and how can you change and adjust your behavior according to the different social contexts that we come across in our lives and in our workplaces. So there's the social intelligence, and there's cultural competence. Cultural competence is the understanding and the awareness of what different cultures, how they operate, how they, what they bring to a North American culture, and how you can adjust and adapt to those different kinds of behaviors. And then there's systems thinking, and the last one is continuous learning. So all of these things kind of combined really have you start to think and operate from a perspective of other human beings.
What has systems thinking got to do with civility?
Well, when you're looking at an overall picture, when you're looking at how things blend together and operate together, and you're looking at how different people can interact and contribute to each other or in the overall whole, if you're thinking about the whole picture and not just selfish and not only looking at one aspect that may be important to you, right, you start to bring in a more harmonious environment. And that really is conducive to a civil organization.
Well, what we're finding is that workplaces that don't have civility, the workers do experience an undue amount of stress.
Hopefully not as bad as Japan, where they drop dead at their desk. It was a special name for it, isn't it? Kuroshio or something.
Yeah.
Very similar to that. Unbelievable number of people this happens to.
Absolutely. So there's about 10,000 people a year in Japan will drop dead in their desks due to the way, things are operating, the way that they're being treated at work. So, I mean, it's an epidemic, really, the way that things are operating out there.
Do we know when this started? Because I've never actually heard that term vis-a-vis a workplace.
Yeah, it's a conversation that's starting now. Civility has been around from, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. It's been a conversation. It's been the foundation of how we operate as a society. And, we did start our corporate organizations on the basis of civility, but somehow it's just been lost. We're in a technical age right now where things are a lot more focused on efficiency and revenue and bottom lines. And so the conversation of respectful behaviors for human beings and what really makes people work together harmoniously has started to lose its place in the game. And now it's starting to come back up again.
Is this a hard sell to employers?
It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. I'm finding more and more that it's a lot easier of a conversation because employees want it. About 67% of employees will say that having a civil workplace would actually increase their overall health, their morale, and their productivity. So it's in demand, and organizations are starting to perk their ears up to it a little bit more. It's just a matter of educating and informing the decision makers out there.
Now, you have online courses. You also have a book.
Yeah. So Lou Bayer, who's the founder of Civility Experts, has recently published a book called The 30% Solution. And this book really goes into the juice and the meat and potatoes of civility in work. So it's filled with a ton of different stats that we've done, that we've gotten from a bunch of research that just shows, and it's leaning towards the fact that civility actually has an impact on the bottom line.
And now what about the online courses? Is this for employers or for employees?
So we have a full suite of different products. Going online, anybody could look at one of our suite of products, which is called Manners TV, and it could be an employee-based, it could be employer-based. Really, there's something there for everybody. We've also got courses for people who want to make a difference and start taking on civility training for themselves and be somebody who can go and put this out there in the workplace. So there's a full suite of products for all different levels of audiences.
Now, it seems to me that you're now correcting a problem that already exists in the workplace. Do you have proactive courses where new businesses can sort of start on the right foot?
So we do have consultation packages. Mm-hmm. So definitely it's worth a conversation to see. And a lot of our courses could be tailored for new businesses, for businesses who need to incorporate the change, or for businesses who are already acting out of civility, but maybe want refresher or sustainability. So there is definitely something there for new businesses.
Well, I mean, I come from a generation where that was part of my grandmother's vocabulary. It was a social grace. Mm-hmm. But now it seems to be an element of the bottom line in a business.
So I'm curious as to how you can measure the success of these courses, because a lot of things, don't work very well, like conflict resolution and diversity training. A lot of these things just get brushed to the side. Can you actually measure success on this one?
Yeah, and oftentimes things like the conflict resolution and diversity and communication courses, if they're not laid on a foundation of civility, those kinds of concepts really get lost for individuals and employees. So what we've developed at Civility Experts is the Civility Competency Matrix. And that actually incorporates those 4 key skills that we were talking about: social intelligence, cultural competence, continuous learning, and systems thinking. And it's an assessment tool that we use to actually show real-time results in how civility is making a difference in organizations.
So what's the website?
It's www.civilityexperts.com.
Thank you so much, Anjali, for joining us. Very interesting.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
When we come back, Lena Almeida, a lifestyle guru and regular contributor on What She Said, shares some of her favorite picks for back to campus living. This is The Jewel. We'll be right back.